Yes, of course. I'm Hector Ramos. I have a title of being a Master Pranic healer. In India, I'm known as Acharya Hector. It simply means a spiritual teacher or a teacher in spiritual studies. I was born in the Philippines, but I currently reside in the United States. I travel to Europe to teach classes too, and in other countries. I was trained in pranic healing starting 1987 or 1988. So I've been practicing it for, over 25 years or so. Yes, I have my training in mechanical engineering and psychology before I went full-time into pranic healing. I was raised in a very Roman Catholic country in the Philippines. It's a very Christian country because the Philippines was under Spain for over 400 something years. Yeah, but I got introduced into the healing arts too. There are different healing arts in the Philippines. At the age of 9, I had a bad fall. I grew up in a farm, so my father raised cattle and animals, and and I used to love taking care of them and playing with them. But one day while playing with them, I got chased by animals. And actually I jumped over a high fence and I landed on my left arm, which twisted the bones on my left arm. It hurt my elbow, my shoulder and neck and mid-spine, which led to problems with the right leg, left eye, left ear, and neck pain and all kinds of complications. So yes, I underwent different kinds of therapies or treatments, but at the age of 19, because I was searching for a cure, I met Master Choa. I actually found his pranic healing book in a bookshop, and I thought, okay, let me try this and see if it will help me. And it took several sessions with Master Choa, and my pains disappeared. So because of that, I pursued the pranic healing system just because it healed me. I was really more interested about learning how to heal my body. I was not interested about healing other people. So I had that self-interest. But one day I was coming home from a session with Master Choa, and I borrowed his book on pranic healing just to study it more. Because after having my body pains healed, I thought maybe I should study this more and help other people. So when I reached home, my mother was crying in the kitchen, and when I went there, she showed me her hand, which was burnt by a boiling cooking oil. So the size of the hand was double the size. It looked crispy actually. It looked fried, and she was crying. She was running cold water and putting aloe vera. So I told her, well, let's try what I just learned. So in the pranic healing book, there are different protocol for different cases. Okay, so I looked for the protocol for fresh burns, and I just followed it. Now you have to understand that I did not even take the level 1 or basic pranic healing or advanced pranic healing. I just was reading from the book. And for some reason, in maybe less than an hour of healing, my mother's hand normalized in size and very little discomfort. So I was very impressed. I mean, it literally changed the way I look at my hands. Because normally if you're cooking in the kitchen, and I like to cook, if you sprinkle your hand with boiling oil, that can easily take you at least a week to heal without doing anything. So for a hand which was burnt, all over, to heal in less than an hour. I thought that was impressive. So the next day, I did more healing for her because I think she had like 2 or 3 red spots. But that was it. The hand looked completely normal. And I did healing also for her eyes because she was crying a lot. And yes, that's how I got introduced into it. Master Choa back then, he actually personally trained healers. And not only he trained them, he actually employed them. He paid them. So he had several healing centers in Manila, in the Philippines. And he assigned different healers. Not only that, the good thing with him was he had a medical doctor in the healing center. Master Choa always believed that pranic healing is a complement to modern, medical treatment. He always believed that. In fact, there was even a psychologist. So he said, pranic healing, even though it's effective in healing many cases, it has limitations, and therefore, it has to work with other treatments, with doctors, with psychologists, when necessary. So, the way I learned was, number one, I was a patient, and number two, I would observe while waiting for my turn to be healed. I would observe how they would do things. And then, since I would always observe, the healers started to give me simple cases, like headache, knee pain, stomach ache, back pain, cold or cough. Very simple cases. And they would guide me as to how to do it. So they taught me how to feel the energy in my hands, how to feel the energy of the person's energy field or aura, how to clean the energy, how to energize. So it's something like that. So I actually learned first from the healers Master Choa trained. Okay, and then later on, Master Choa would do healing for me, and then he would give me instructions on how to heal certain cases. So he made me read the Pranic healing book. Okay, and then later on, Master Choa, because I made some mistakes in the treatment. Okay, so for example, in pranic healing, we do not energize the chest or the physical heart directly. We energize it through the back. But one day, I was a complete beginner. I did not know the things that you should not do. So there was a woman who came with cough. I think she was having bronchitis. So I thought, oh, she's coughing and she's having chest pain. And so what I did was I cleaned the energy on the chest and energized her on the chest. And she was sitting on a stool. There was no backrest. After a few minutes, she closed her eyes and she collapsed. She fell down. Luckily, she did not hit her head on the hard floor. There was a cushion. But I ran to Master Choa on the other room and I told him this patient collapsed. And Master Choa said, oh, what did you do? I said, I energized the chest. So he said, you're not supposed to do that. So he said, just clean the energy. And so I cleaned the excess energy on the chest and she woke up. And she asked me, what happened? Why am I on the floor? And I said, the energy was too strong for your chest. But anyway, I had mistakes like that. So eventually Master Choa said, you must now start formal training. So he made me take his pranic healing classes. Now, I was still a student then. I was studying engineering. And I did not really have the budget to learn. So what Master Choa did was, in exchange for my healing services or services at the healing center, he taught me the classes for free. Because of this training, Master Choa handed me like a booklet, And he said, you must collect 300 cases, complete cure, using basic pranic healing techniques. And he said, it has to be certified by a medical doctor. So I would go to the healing center, and since there was a senior doctor there, he would first diagnose the patient, then I would feel the energy and I would apply pranic healing treatment. And then I would get, the feedback or the comment from the patient. And then once the case has been healed, then the doctor would certify that it's been healed. So that was a long time to finish. 300 cases of basic. And then after that, Master Choa gave me another booklet. He said, now 250 cases using advanced pranic healing. That took longer. Because advanced pranic healing deals with severe, more chronic diseases like, diabetes, chronic heart conditions, severe infections, arthritis, problems with the endocrine system or reproductive system or urinary system, cases of cancer, for example. So, I was really trained because of those. And again, you have to have a doctor, certify it. After that, Master Choa gave me another booklet, and he said 150 cases of pranic psychotherapy. So pranic psychotherapy is pranic healing applied for treating psychological cases like phobia, trauma, addictions, stress, suicidal tendency, and so on. So I had to collect a lot of cases. Master Choa, I remember, did a lot of experiments. So when I met him, he was not even finished writing the advanced pranic healing book. Okay, his basic pranic healing book contained basic pranic healing techniques plus some advanced techniques, but they were not as developed as later on. So Master Choa would experiment on patients and actually on healers. So for example, there's a technique on how to heal fresh wounds. So, he would ask the doctor to make a wound on the hand of a volunteer, like one of the healers. And then Master Choa would tell the healer how to do it. And they would time it. Okay? So when I learned that, in the same way that Master Choa experimented, I also experimented. So I would always carry the pranic healing book with me. So like one time I was visiting a friend, and his mother was, cutting vegetables at the kitchen. And so she sliced accidentally part of her finger. It hit the nail. So she was bleeding. So I thought, let me try this technique. The only way to find whether something is effective or not is to experiment. That's my agreement with Master Choa. He told me, do not believe on things blindly. Always test them, experiment. Experiment many times and make your own conclusions. So anyway, I just follow the step. How to heal fresh wound. It took maybe over 10 minutes. By the way, that wound may take maybe more than a week to heal on its own. But in over 10 minutes, using advanced pranic healing technique, the wound completely got healed. So I was very impressed. So because of that, I was very excited. I would always look for opportunities for people with wound. I would practice. And later on, when I was teaching in India in 1992 or 93, when we began teaching in India, in the advanced class, I would actually call on a doctor to perform experiment with people. So the doctor would come, we would photograph before, and then while he's cutting, and then while one of the students would do the healing. And then once it's completely healed, we would again take a picture. So it's documented, And then, of course, there's a testimonial. But because, it's been proven to work, Master Choa said, stop that in your classes. Just teach them the techniques. There's no need to experiment. Because people were starting to get scared. Oh. You have to be cut. Sorry, I'd like to add that Master Choa is a spiritual teacher. So he did not just train his disciples the art of healing. Like me, when I came to him, I was not just looking to heal my body, I was searching spiritually. So Master Choa taught us a meditation on loving kindness, to develop inner peace and to have spiritual experiences. It's known as a meditation on twin hearts, meditation on loving kindness. So when I started practicing the meditation, I started to have some inner spiritual or mystical experiences. So at a very young age, I grew up with priests and nuns. We were very close to the church, and my aunt was a nun. So she always took me to the church. But I never understood much about religion. The only thing not the only thing, but one of the things which I did not like was, my aunt would make me pray the rosary, and my knees would hurt because we would be kneeling. And the only thing I remember was like, when will this end? My knees are hurting. So I never really liked it. I never understood it. But when I started having spiritual experiences with the meditation Master Choa taught, I started to appreciate, the spiritual teachings of the church. Wow. So Master Choa sent me around Philippines to teach priests and nuns. So we have many nuns in the Philippines who practice pranic healing. I realized that true health is not just about, healing the body. I realized that true health has something to do with seeking God and, having a closer relationship with God and with people around you. So Master Choa did not just teach us meditation, but he taught us how to cultivate service or helpfulness, how to be kind with our speech, how to develop happiness and humor and the ability to forgive, and also how to develop a positive mind. So Master Choa trained us to cultivate a harmless state of mind. So I became a better person after learning, those teachings from Master Choa. So I realized that true healing involves healing of the body, and modern medicine would address that. Healing of the energy body, pranic healing helps that. Healing of the emotions in the mind, psychology would help that. And of course, you need spiritual practices like meditation. So, my idea about health changed. So Master Choa said pranic healing is just a tool or an instrument to bring people to the spiritual life. Number one, for children, by the way, we apply pranic healing to children. We help them become calmer, and we teach them the virtues, and at a young age they learn how to meditate in a simple way. So their behavior changes, and also their academic performance changes, their memory improves, their mental capacity improves. Okay, and of course when children get sick, so because of that, parents now will have the ability to heal simple cold, simple cough, headache, stomach pain. Fever is common, you know that. So when parents learn how to heal, they could help their children when they have fever. So medical bill is partially reduced in the family because parents can heal the family. And in studies, because of certain techniques in pranic healing, you could actually help energize the center of the brain connected to memory, or certain energy center connected to concentration or focusing. You can energize certain energy center connected to creativity, and energy centers connected to emotions and relationships, or being industrious. So if a person has problem working or earning a living, there's certain energy centers which will help the person become more industrious. And there's also an energy center connected to developing intuition. So you could energize that or do meditation to stimulate that. So pranic healing has become a way of life. It's not just for healing the body. It's become, for health, for relationships, for finances, for intellectual development, for spiritual development. For relationships, there are certain energy centers which affect us emotionally. So, for example, one is the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the seat of lower emotions. There's what you call lower negative emotions, like stress, anger, fear, depression, irritation, sadness. So, if a person has problem with the stomach, with the liver, with the intestines, or with digestion, or with the pancreas, we clean and energize the solar plexus. However, if the person has relationship problem, we also notice that the energy on the solar plexus is disturbed. So in pranic healing, we clean and energize this, which makes the person less irritable. It helps the person get less angry and less depressed. Okay? Next is the heart. The heart energy center has a lot to do with higher emotions like love, sweetness, tenderness, peacefulness, the ability to forgive. The heart is connected to happiness or humor. So when a person is depressive or angry a lot, we do not just clean and energize the solar plexus, but we clean and energize the heart chakra. We energize through the back. And by doing that, the person becomes a happier, more peaceful person, much nicer and friendlier. So in that sense alone, pranic healing can help heal relationships in many cases. Not in all cases, of course. Pranic healing has limitations. But by healing the heart chakra of the couple, heart energy center of couples, they tend to harmonize to a certain degree, to a certain extent. Now, we're not promising everything, because some relationships could be very difficult to heal. You need the help of a counselor or a psychologist, maybe. Master Choa believed and taught us that the basis, the foundation of spiritual development are the virtues. Okay? He believed that meditation techniques are important, but the most important part, the beginning part, is the development of the virtues. Now, the virtues are connected to the development of the heart energy center. So when I first started studying with Master Choa, one of the first thing he told me was, I needed to cultivate harmlessness, non-injury, non-violence. So he taught me that in the morning, when I wake up, before I say my prayers and do my meditation, I would sit for a few minutes and I would make a resolution that I will not hurt anyone physically, I will not hurt anyone verbally, I will not hurt anyone emotionally, and I will not hurt anyone with my mind. So that's in the morning. And then as I went through the day, I had to force myself to practice those things. So I avoided saying things which will hurt people. I avoided anger and irritation. I avoided physical violence. Like slamming the door or banging things, throwing things violently. He said those produce violence. And then I avoided criticizing people in my mind or wishing bad things to happen to people. And then at the end of the day, before going to bed, before going to sleep, the practice was to look at the entire day and review. So you start in the morning. If you see in your review that you have hurt somebody, maybe through your speech, or you got angry, you will simply erase that image, and then you have to think what you're going to do next time. That you'll be kinder in your speech and you will be more patient. Okay? So the idea behind this is that when you go to the next day, you have learned your mistake from the previous day, and you have already thought of or figured out what you're supposed to do next time it happens. So next time you encounter the same kind of person or same kind of situation, you more or less know how to react. You have greater control over your character. So in terms of energies, when you do this, the heart energy center becomes developed as you practice being helpful and being kind, being generous. Now, when this is the case, the spiritual center, which is located on top of your head, the crown energy center, becomes bigger, brighter, it opens up. Because this energy center is connected to the heart energy center. When the heart energy center develops, the spiritual center also develops. So the foundation of spiritual love is human love. So when you begin to be kind to people, when you begin to give to people either materially or financially, or you give emotionally, or you learn to send good thoughts, or you learn to give through kind speech, then what happens is the spiritual center starts to open up. So when you meditate or when you pray, you may begin to have some spiritual experiences. But this development on the spiritual center is not possible. Divine love is not possible unless you first cultivate human love. So this is one of the things that I have learned from Master Choa. So he told me, you heal a lot of people, but you should also heal your parents, your family. Then he said, you give money and clothing to other people, but every month you should also give some of your income to your parents. You give to charity. And then he said, you also have to give to the church you go to. Because that's where you receive spiritual energies. So something like that. Master Choa's main teaching. Master Choa's main teaching, if you ask me, is service and spiritual development. Now, however, Master Choa, even though he was a great healer and a very good example of spiritual living. Master Choa was also a very practical man. Master Choa was actually a businessman. He owned and run several businesses. But from his income, he practiced charity. So he supported churches, priests, nuns. He supported different kinds of charities. He trained healers. Okay, he has charity on the welfare of prisoners. He has charity on helping monks and nuns. He has charity on feeding the hungry people. He has charity on helping pay for medical expenses of people. Okay, we actually did not know some of his charity until he left his body. Yes, but I repeat, Master Choa for me was an embodiment of balance. He was very good with money. He was wealthy, but at the same time, he used his money for good causes. Okay, he was frugal. He did not misuse money. He calculated. He budgeted. And then he used a lot of his money to, spread pranic healing, to spread spirituality, to write and publish books, to create recording CDs for meditations. And I know that Master Choa had very close relationships with spiritual and religious people. Not just in the Christian faith, but in other religions too. For example, he's known to have met the Dalai Lama. That's, in the Buddhist world. He is known to have interacted with one of the Hindu head of, religious lineage or teachings. So Master Choa was open to different spiritual and religious teachings. He believed that different religions contain more or less the same spiritual teachings, but they just differ in terminologies. But he believed that the essence is, the golden rule. You do to others what you want others to do to you. And you do not do to others what you do not want others to do to you. So I thought that was his main teaching. Master Choa believed that you need to be balanced in your development. So Master Choa has courses on healing. He has courses on different types of meditation. And at the same time, he has courses on practical living. Like he has courses on prosperity. He has courses on arranging your environment so that the flow of energy is better in your office or at home, for optimum result. He also has a course on psychic protection, so he has courses on advanced meditations. So all of these are meant to balance the person's development. My happiness is in training people. Like in India, for example, I was very instrumental. I was the main person in spreading pranic healing in India and training instructors so they could teach, training healers. So that's, I believe where I'm called to do. I'd love to train people. At the same time, I have had a lot of spiritual training in the area of knowledge. So I come to life when I'm able to be an instrument to share the spiritual teachings to people. So I think that's where I'm heading to. I have seen some miraculous healing cases, which Master Choa did. Like in India, for example, in front of, 1,000 or more people in an auditorium. Okay, there was this woman who was in a wheelchair. And Master Choa, healed her, and she walked on the stage after many years of not walking. So I've seen miracles like that. But for me, I believe Master Choa's greatest contribution, was that he was able to impart healing arts and techniques of spirituality so that you became empowered, Like, you may not be able to do big miracles, like making somebody walk like that, but at least you should be able to heal headache. You should be able to heal back pain, knee pain, stomach ache, toothache. Of course, if you have toothache, you could remove the pain, but you still have to see the dentist. But that's what I'm saying, though, is he empowered people to help themselves. Instead of depending on somebody, he empowered people to become better people. Not just in terms of healing their body, but also in terms of becoming a better person.
Right.
I like that a lot. That's one. Number two, I have learned from Master Choa that you should be an open-minded person. Okay? If you do not understand something, you do not believe on it blindly, or you do not disbelieve on it blindly. So that was my agreement with him when I was being trained. He said, these are the techniques, experiment many, many times. And based on your experiments, you make your own conclusions. I like that, because I did not want to believe on things blindly. So he told me, your conclusions might be the direct opposite of what I have taught, but as long as you have experimented, I have absolutely no problem. So I like that. He gave people the freedom to disagree. He did not create blind devotion. Thank you.